Afternoon, it's 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and that means it is time for another episode of Tune Into the Life, where we go through the stories behind the music, the lyrics, the song, the album, the band. Today, the band will be Talking Heads from their album Remain in Light and the song Once in a Lifetime. Give it a listen, and I'll catch you on the other side.
You may find yourself living in a shotgun shack, and you may find yourself in another part of the world, and you may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile, and you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife, and you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again. After the money's gone, once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. And you may ask yourself, how do I work this? And you may ask yourself, where is that large automobile? And you may tell yourself, this is not my beautiful house. And you may tell yourself, this is not my beautiful wife. Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again. After the money's gone, once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. Same as it ever was, 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 same as it ever was. Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again. After the money's gone, once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. You may ask yourself, what is that beautiful house? You may ask yourself, where does that highway go to? And you may ask yourself, am I right? Am I wrong? And you may say to yourself, my God, what have I done? Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again, into the silent water, under the rocks and stones. There is water underground. Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again. After the money's gone, once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. Same as it ever was, same as it ever was, same as it ever was. Look where my hand was. Time isn't holding up, time isn't after us, same as it ever was. Water flowing underground into the blue again, into the silent water, under the rocks and stones. There is water underground. Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again. After the money's gone, once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. Same as it ever was, same as it ever was, same as it ever was. Look where my hand was. Time isn't holding up, time isn't after us, same as it ever was, 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 same as it ever was. Once in a lifetime, let the water hold me down.
Same as it ever was. Welcome, T-Lock and Poppy. Oh, I shouldn't call him that because I don't know if he goes by that. on LinkedIn. Jacob, welcome, Jacob. And Jacob says, "Oh, hey, Dad," to T-Lock, because we're both, well, I'm like a little child of the Beast Club, and T-Lock's like the big daddy, and Jacob's like the head curator. I don't even know if that's right, but hey, that was Talking Heads Once in a Lifetime from Remain in Light. It's a great song, great song. And it has so many memories. I have so many connections with it. I was actually, I know it's going to sound gross, but let me explain. After I make the statement is I was once spit on and sweated on by Dave Byrne. So way back when I had connections, like one of the jobs that got me through college was connected, if you know what I'm saying. Like we were made men. I wasn't, and I didn't know it until the end. And that'll be a story for a later time. Anyway, I had the amazing fun times. Hey, Juana's here too. So basically because I was connected unknowingly, I got really good tickets to all the early concerts I went to. We're talking like front row, dead center. So I got really spoiled, and I didn't know I was spoiled because those are the first concerts I went to. And I thought, hey, that's just everybody gets. You want to go front row center? You get front row center. I didn't know. Anyway, so then I went to college, and the assembly hall was this big, huge building with these giant doors, and it was always general admission. So the Talking Heads came, and the opening act was Gang of Four. By the way, if you've never heard Gang of Four or none of the music, you gotta go check them out. Gang of Four is freaking awesome. One of my favorite bands. Anyway, so I'm about 50, 60 people back, and everybody else is like the people in front of me are pressed against these big giant doors. Guess what happened? It was like Moses parting of the Red Sea. Okay, I'm not aggrandizing myself. I'm just saying it was almost like a miracle. The big doors opened like this, and it pushed all 50 to 60 people that were in front of me to the side. And I was like the first one in, and I was dead front row center, and it's a small venue, so the stage is pretty close to the front row. Anyways, I think it might have been, was it Remain in Light? I don't think it was the Remain in Light tour. I think it was a couple albums after, but I think it was during the song, like he was doing his like shaky stuff, and he's all sweaty and stuff, and he kind of spits when he sings. So I got spit. And this is, got spit on and sweated on by David Byrne. So there's my brush with greatness of the Talking Heads. It was a fantastic concert, by the way. I love them. They're awesome. They introduced me to a lot of stuff. Like on this album, you ever heard of Adrian Belew? It's one of my favorite guitarists. And he's a favorite guitarist for many reasons. He's experiments. I mean, you heard on this album, it just gets weird sounds on his guitar. So a lot of people are thinking, oh, that's the keyboard or that's something. No, that's guitar. He's like one of his solo albums, Elephant Talks. He gets some of the coolest sounds out of guitar. And no, Poppy, I got to put that up there. That's just funny. What am I doing? I can't do it over there. All right. This is why I need a live producer. Anyways, no, I did not pay extra for the spit. So, but it was a great concert. I mean, it's great. I mean, I love playing in, So that's, let's see, there's 4 there. So that one's a bass. I have 2 basses. That's my favorite bass. And those are my 3 favorite guitars. I actually have a lot more. The one on closest here is my oldest electric guitar. I got it because I used to love Santana, and Santana had a brown Sunburst SG with double humbuckers. I got one. And then the next guitar over is a Black Beauty Les Paul semi-hollow body. And then the other one, which is the one I play the most, is Jeff Beck custom Fender Stratocaster, powder blue. Oh, you can't see them that well either. All right, here we go. See powder blue and brown Sunburst. That's just a beautiful guitar. Oh, that's The Rock by Peter Bloom, my favorite painting of all time. Obviously, it's not the original, or I wouldn't be doing the show. I'd be on a like Caribbean island somewhere. So, anyways, back to the show, because the show does have a format. So I should probably get back to that. Anyway, so the whole theme of this show is, T-Lock already knows it, so I don't have to explain it to him. Actually, he helped me develop the show. So it's called Tune Into Life. And basically we go through the stories behind the music, the band. So we go through the lyrics, the song, the album, the band. And so, yeah. And then we learn life lessons. And I do so with quotes and then a life lesson, what we could learn from this song. So let's get into that a little bit since it's 4:10. No, screen. I got to put that up there too. Hold on. I have to go back to all right. We're just kind of playing it loose. Screw format. All right. So actually I should probably put that one too. The trio. Yeah. You have a Strat, an SG, and a Les Paul. Cool. Actually, if it fit up there, I would put my Telecaster up there too, because I love my Telecaster. A lot of people go, why do you have a Fender Telecaster and a Fender Stratocaster? And if you don't know the answer to that question, then I can't help you. It's just a guitar thing. So Telecaster, think of like the first 3 or 4 albums of Bruce Springsteen. He gets that raw sound. That is a Telecaster. Think of Terry Kath from Chicago. That's a Telecaster. It just gets that sound that only a Telecaster can get. And then Stratocaster is more, you could still go fast and cool and stuff, but think like Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, Jeff Beck. Can't believe he came third since he's like my favorite guitarist of all time. Yeah. So, and unfortunately, Poppy, I am going to go a little bit back to the format, but we can talk about music all the time. I just love music. Music excites me. Music is my life. Oh, and I forgot to explain. So after we go through the stories and we'll learn success lenses, this is all for helping people compose their life like a symphony, because music is my life. Creativity is my life. I write, I do music, I do films, all this kind of stuff. And they just inspire me. And I think that way too. So a lot of times something will happen in life and I go, remember that scene in Stripes where Bill Murray is talking? Yeah. So my whole life is like that. My sister just makes fun of me all the time. Anyway, that's what sisters are for. So the first quote is by Sigmund Freud, the grandfather of modern psychology, a guy who gets too much flack because everybody thinks all this stuff's about the super ego, and he's all about sex. It's not true. So this is a great quote from him. It's most people do not really want freedom because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. Unfortunately, that is a very true statement in my experience of life. People are afraid to take a responsibility. They're afraid to be accountable. And I think that's the result of a lot of the social media and the hating and the cancel culture and all that. That kind of leads to that, just because people don't want to take responsibility. And part of not having responsibility is in social media. You just follow the algorithm, and all your search process from Google or Edge or whatever you use just reinforces your opinion, because it keeps giving you the same crap that you've been looking at without delving and making you think. Think, people. You got a brain, so think. Anyways, so and then we argue about stupid stuff, and then we never have a discussion, an adult discussion where we can come to a middle ground, or maybe it's a half left ground like we were talking about with Poppy and me before. But yeah, that's just the way it is. And so the life lesson we can learn from that, and I'll tie it into Talking Heads in a second, but it's only when you take responsibility for your results that you can change them. So if you've ever read or seen David Byrne, I mean, he's the leader, he's the main songwriter. Yeah, Tina Weymouth and Chris Franz and Jerry Harrison. And then for about 3 albums, there's second, third, fourth album, Brian Eno kind of got involved, and then he got involved later. And then him and David had just great collaboration. I love Brian Eno. He's awesome. He was great collaboration with David Bowie. He's just, yeah, the dude's a genius. I think he's still alive. Either is a genius or he was a genius. But so the way that takes in is early on when they were they went through 3 names. What was their first name? Shrinking Heads. Oh, yeah. So the first name of their band was the Shrinking Heads, and they got a lot of flack for name and their weird style and all that kind of stuff. And the band, Tina, Chris, Jerry, and Dave just said, kind of flipped the big old bird to people and said, hey, we're taking responsibility. We like the sound. We're going to play with this sound. We're going to write weird songs. We're going to do offbeat rhythms. I don't know if you noticed in that song, if there's any drummers in the audience, but Chris Franz, I mean, he's got like a steady beat, almost like a Charlie Watts. But then the fills, the fills are so bizarre in that song, but they work. So he'll do like a and a boom bop, and it's like offbeat actually, but it works with the song, and the song is quirky, and that adds to the quirkiness. And so they took responsibility for their sound, even from Talking Heads '77, which has the awesome song, which I almost picked, but I picked Once in a Lifetime because it edges out Psycho Killer just a little bit. But yeah, the Talking Head '77 had Psycho Killer on it. That's such a great song. Anyways, they're a great band. I love them. Every album is different. And yeah, just great songs. So we'll move on. So they took responsibility for the sound. They moved on. They had, they were very innovative, and yeah, so they just took responsibility and they were successful. So the next one is from H.E. Look, I don't know. The next two quotes are from people who are into Christianity and ministers and stuff like that. I'm not promoting that. Whatever you believe is what you believe. I'm okay with it. I'm actually Jewish myself. But it's just a great quote. No one could whistle a symphony. It takes an orchestra to play it. That is so true. And the Talking Heads, I mean, that's just, so if you looked at the copyright for this song, it just had every band member and Brian Eno. So even though David Byrne was the primary songwriter, kind of leader, the quirky guy, the face of it. I mean, if I showed you a picture of Jerry Harrison, most of you probably would go, meh. But if I showed you a picture of David Byrne, they go, oh yeah, Talking Heads guy. So, but they were a band. And then what was cool about them is were so cohesive. So it's such a family that they did things like Tom Tom Club, great band, by the way, too. So that's like basically what I call Talking Heads without David Byrne. So Tina Weymouth's in it, Chris Franz was in it, Jerry Harrison was in it. I forgot who the guitarist was. Oh yeah, I was talking about Adrian Belew. So on this album, Once in a Lifetime, sorry, the song's Once in a Lifetime. On this album, Remain in Light, Adrian Belew was on it, one of my favorite guitarists of all time. I actually met with him. I wouldn't say we were friends. I'd say we were friendly. He lived in Champaign-Urbana for a while, and that's where I went to school, University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana. And so I met Adrian Belew. I met Robert Fripp, which blew my mind because people would make fun of me in high school because I got a Fender twin reverb and a distortion pedal, and I think it was a Morley Power Wah volume. Oh God, I love that thing. So I mean, if you ever heard, like a Rush song where Alex Lifeson's kind of going almost like a violin, that's a volume pedal that he's using. Anyways, Adrian Belew would use stuff like that and just get weird sounds. But when I was in high school, just starting off with guitar and bands, I used to do stuff like that all the time. And even though, I mean, I was technical, I could sight read, I could do all that, my friends would come in and they like play Year of the Cat or something. Hey, here's Year of the Cat, and I'm playing it note for note. And then I'd get on and I'd be like all kinds of weird stuff. And they just go, you're not a good guitarist. I'm like, no, I'm actually a great guitarist. I'm just having fun, and that's what I like to do. I like to experiment with noises, which is why I like Jeff Beck, Jimi Hendrix, and the masters of feedback. Anyway, let's go back to that one more time because I really like that quote. No one can whistle a symphony. It takes a whole orchestra to play it. And then the life lesson that comes out of that is self-actualization, self-discovery, self-fulfillment. It's often accelerated in collaboration with others. There are too many people on LinkedIn, social media, people being gurus, people trying to be your coach or whatever, and they think, oh, I have to go inside and I have to meditate. And there's nothing wrong with anything. I know it seems like I'm mocking it, but I'm trying not to. Mock it, but you can't take yourself too seriously. And in getting self-actualization, if any of you know Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's a triangle, and it starts off in the bottom with survival, things like fighting for food and water and shelter. So once you have those, and you can kind of start building on it, and then it kind of goes building through love and family and all that kind of connection, human connection. And then the top of the triangle is self-actualization. So even Maslow said, who's a master of psychology, he said, you got to work with people, even though the first thing of those things was self. Let's go back to that for a second. Even though it's self-actualization, self-discovery, self-fulfillment, you will be better served by working with others. You bounce things off others. That discussion I was talking about earlier when you're having discussion, if you have intellectual, it doesn't even have to be intellectual. If you have intelligent and open conversations where you can actually discuss things, where you're open to discovery, where the other person has an opposing opinion and you're bouncing it back and forth, and all of a sudden you're like going, oh, I get it now. I was wrong. So thanks for giving me that information. And I have enough information. I changed my mind. Cool. That's the human experience. And what I'm saying is, with that quote, is even though those three things have self-fulfillment, self-actualization, self-knowledge, self-whatever, you can better serve yourself by working and collaborating with others. That does not working with others and collaborating with others does not preclude learning about yourself. So that's all that means. And the cool thing about the Talking Heads, I mean, they brought in Adrian Belew. I think they brought in Nona Hendrix for a while. They brought in, sorry, whoever I'm forgetting. They brought in other people, and like Brian Eno, and they just collaborated. So even though the core band was Byrne, Harrison, Friends, and Weymouth, they would collaborate with all these people. I mean, even on, what's the name of that? Burning Down the House. What's the name of that album? I can't remember. But the album that Burning Down the House was, they brought in like African rhythm sections and all this kind of stuff. I know a lot of people were doing that around that time, but I would contend Talking Heads did it best. Because a lot of people, like, nothing against them, one of the best songwriters of all time, but like Paul Simon, he basically acquired the African sound music on some of his albums when he brought them in. By the way, they were great albums, but he kind of kept with the sound, and that's okay. What Talking Heads did is they merged. They had a weird collaboration, like something different came out of it. It was different for Talking Heads. It was different from the African rhythm section, and they just came up with this real innovative, cool sounds, sonic experience, as they say. Oh, here, I got to put that on there. Hey, T's here. Hi, T. Oh, hey, hi, T. I guess I have to do this. T is here. Hi, T. Hi, T. Yes, we're going high T. Oh, actually, that's like in some countries, that's like sorry. If you're in that country where that means something bad, don't do it. And we can't, I just want to say, I forgot to put her up too. Hope she's still around. Anyway, so thank you, T, for coming here. If you didn't know, what did you call yourself in the post? Executive producer, associate producer. I don't know. I don't remember. She helps produce this show though. So it's kind of fun because I'm kind of feeling like a part of the family of the just offending everything. Hey, what do you mean? I'm like a Don Rickles. I'm like, yeah, I offend everybody. That's what I do. Okay. But it's endearing. It's daring. People like go, hey, we love Mark. Yeah, he offended me, but it was a good offense. Anyways, I do it from my heart. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, so where was I? Oh yeah, the poo. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna invite Jacob to every show. He's just keeping me laughing. The poo produce. The poop. Can't even say it. Poo reducer, I think. I love it. God. So, and this is what happens when you detract about. Actually, it's easy because I have ADD, dyslexia, and all kinds of malfunctions, but that's okay. So let's go on to the third thing, and I'll get back on track. So the third quote, it's kind of a long one. If you ever heard of C.S. Lewis, if you ever seen any of the Narnia movies, so he was a minister, a theologian. He wrote about Christianity, but he also wrote fantasy books for children. He wrote the Narnia series, which I love. I love the Narnia series. Anyways, he said, even in literature and art, no man who bothers about originality will ever be original. Whereas if you simply tell the truth without carrying 2 pence, by the way, for us US folks, I believe 2 pence is a quarter. For without carrying 2 pence, how often it has been told before, you will 9 times out of 10 become original without ever having noticed. So that's pretty wordy and it's pretty deep. So I'm going to repeat it slowly this time. So even in literature and art, So creative things. No man who bothers about originality will ever be original. Whereas if you simply tell the truth without caring twopence how often it has been told before, you will 9 times out of 10 become original without ever having noticed. I love that quote. And the way it applies with Talking Heads is they didn't care. They had influences. And at all interviews, you actually see that they talk about their influences. Like, oh, I love this person. I love early Bowie, and even Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan was cool. Blah, blah. So they cite all their influences. That doesn't make them unoriginal. They just took all that in. They honored what came before them, and they stood on those shoulders. And then they created a new sound. If you don't think Talking Heads create a new sound, you have to listen to Remain in Light. It's one of the most original albums of that era. It's really good. And more songs about food and buildings are good too, but it's more basic. And then even more basic, kind of punky, was Talking Heads 77, which was their first album, but it's really good. But I got oh gosh, I have to put these out. It's like a fun show, you know what I'm saying? It's fun. So here we go. Just the following thing. So Jacob Schwer, which is Poppy, you got a promotion. It's Teresa asking him. Poppy said, dang right I did. And then T said, so we can just say I could give 2 pence about. I know that didn't flow. It kind of was riffing on my stuff too, but those two are funny. Oh yeah, I was talking about the Beast Club. So the Beast Club kind of becoming my family, kind of need it. It's been a rough 3 years. I know it's been a rough 3 years for everyone. I'm not trying to be shallow about that, but this is the longest period of life where I didn't have like a steady job. So, and I moved across country for a job, and then that job got rid of me pretty early, like 90 days in. So if you don't read things like end user license agreements or employment agreements, almost every employment agreement with any company larger than 50 has what I call the 90-day clause, which you should read. The 90-day clause basically says within the first 90 days of employment, either the employer or the employee can cease the relationship without cause. That means I can quit for no reason or they can fire me for no reason. So that job actually got rid of me at day 89. And there's a bunch of reasons for it. I'm a pretty good employee or whatever, but yeah, anyway. So the last lesson of the day, and then we will review all three, is when you keep telling the truth, you become original. And when you are original, you become successful. So remember, original does not mean that you haven't listened to others, you haven't like synthesized others' information or inventions. It simply means that you brought things in and then you tell the truth, your truth, and it comes out, and then you're original. And people could go like, oh, I don't know. So if any of you from Illinois, I was in a band, and Illinois Entertainer is one of those local rags, which talks about bands and venues and stuff like that. So for whatever reason, I think we were open for somebody big because we were not that big, but they reviewed us. And so there was this line in there, which the reviewer totally meant as an insult. And I took it as one of the best compliments of my life. So they're talking about our singer, and they said something derogatory. So that band, I was kind of a backup singer, lead guitarist. And so then they basically said, yeah, the lead guitarist, Mark Benkover, rambles around different notes and chords and different scales. And he's not very clean or technical. And he sounds kind of like Jimmy Page on his worst day. So if you didn't know, Jimmy Page is one of my favorite guitarists of all time. That's why I have a Black Beauty. And I love Zeppelin, one of my favorite bands of all time. And so I forget all the little things that we tried to tweak it to make it like a bad review. I'm like, I sound like Jimmy Page. That's all I took out of that. Best review ever. So it doesn't matter. I mean, I whenever I write a song, I could tell you who inspired the song, and it's my original. It's different than the source material or the things I synthesized, but it probably wouldn't have happened if I didn't like listen to King Crimson, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, or whatever the song sounds like at that time. So let's review the 3 lessons. And I want to thank everybody for showing up, but we're not going to get there yet. Oh, Jacob's in Missouri. Cool. St. Louis or where? Anyway, so life lessons from Once in a Lifetime by the Talking Heads on from their album Remain in Light is it's only when you take responsibility for your results that you can change them. Self-actualization, self-discovery, self-fulfillment, self-whatever is often accelerated in collaboration with others. And then when you keep telling the truth, you become original. And when you are original, you become successful. So for today, for that song, for this episode, those are the 3 ways that life lessons that you can implement and you can learn to compose your life like a symphony. Because to me, music is awesome. And then I'll end with my quote that I always do: living your best life creates a better world for everyone. So I am interested in all y'all. That's right. That's what we say in the South. That's our plural. Y'all actually is singular. All y'all is plural. So when all you all right, St. Louis, so all you all live your best life, that creates a better world for everyone. And I am part of that everyone. So selfishly, I want you all to live your best life, and hopefully you want me to live my best life too. If you don't, you know what to say to yourself. Go, raise your middle finger in the mirror and you can see it. So I thank you all for showing up. T, Jacob, T, Lock, Juana, all the other people that were trolling, because I saw there's 10 people on here at one time, not at once. Well, obviously we're at once. Never mind. Hello. So I'm going to do the outro. You can watch the outro, or you can come back next week. Next week, we're going to do India by Psychedelic Furs, another band where I sat dead center and got spit on by Richard, the lead singer. Anyway. Oh, Iggy Pop I did too, but that's a different story. So here's the outro. I'll see you next week. Thank you for showing up. Love you all, and I'll talk to you later. Arrivederci.